Hello there and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 2 and welcome to another Project A-Spec update. You might recall about 10 months ago we were sat here and I was walking you through the upcoming Project A-Spec mod. Since then Project A-Spec has released and has gone on to critical acclaim because it is a fantastic mod, adding in cars you never thought you'd see in Gran Turismo 2, events you never thought you'd see in Gran Turismo 2, and so much more. And I'm here today to preview the upcoming 1.2 update. Now, they released 1.1 with a smattering of new cars, and the Project A-Spec guys, not looking to do the same thing over and over again, have turned around and gone 1.2 is going to be a massive update, and it's going to take some time. So I'm here to preview it. And previewing an update sounds very strange, but this update currently has 52 cars in it. And they're still adding to it, which is insane. And there's more to come, including the Universal Tuning Shop and new events for some of the new car types, which we'll get into as we go through this. Now, I should stress before I begin, a big thank you to the Project A-Spec team for letting me preview this update. There's going to be a link down below to the teaser trailer for version 1.2 if you want to see some of these cars in action. Credits for all the guys, and their Discord server, which is where you will be able to download this update when it goes live. And I should stress, this is a preview of 1.2. There is still much more development to be done on it. There is no release date for update 1.2. Please don't hand the guys asking for a release date. They don't know, I don't know. It is upcoming. It probably won't be too long, but still, just don't harass the guys for an update. And don't ask me for the ISO, because I'm not giving you it, because that would be silly. Anyways, let's begin our look at the 52 cars. And we start with Ferrari. Yes, Ferrari is in Gran Turismo 2. This is the 355 F1 Berlinetta, and an absolutely fantastic Ferrari to start with. I love the 355. Stunning, classical styling, one of the best exhaust notes in the world. Unfortunately, you can't quite replicate that in Gran Turismo 2, but they got the look of this car absolutely down pat. This was a car I was agonising over for a while, deciding what colour I wanted it in. Of course, there's the red, which looks absolutely phenomenal in this mod. I'm not usually a fan of red Ferraris, but they have nailed the Ferrari red so well. There's this, the yellow, there's blues, there's greens. I've gone with the yellow in the end, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, maybe I should have tried some of the other colours as well, because, yeah, this is just an exquisite car, and one that I enjoy driving quite a lot. Very nice driving car as well. It's nice, there's not a lot of sort of high-end, mid-engined rear-wheel drive cars in the game, so it's nice having another option. Of course, if you like your Ferraris in racing spec, there is the GT300 equivalents. This is the 355 Jim Gaynor GT300, which you can see showcases the absolutely fantastic looking red, really cool looking GT300 car. Not the most successful in real life, as judged by the fact I can find literally nothing about it, but still, you can rewrite history, do the GT300 Championship, and be successful in this car. And if you like your Ferraris angry, there's the Yellow Magic GT300, which I love. This is the one I prefer, to be honest. It's, you know, you get the yellow in there, the 355 number, and the angry headlights, which, yeah, a very interesting looking GT300 car. Although, having seen real life pictures of it, it really did look like this. Exquisite. If you like your Italian cars a little bit more pedestrian, like I do, there's the Fiat 124 1200 Berliner. Of course, most people will see this and instantly go a ladder, but of course, before the 124 was a ladder, it was a very competent Italian saloon with just lots of personality. This is a great car to drive fully upgraded. One of my favourites in this update, actually. Just a really cool car to sort of chuck around and have a lot of fun with. One that I will definitely be using more and more. The first generation Honda Insight. This is, for me, one of my favourites in the mod. I adore the Insight. The first gen Insight, one of my favourite cars of all time, just looks like absolutely nothing else. It is there for the pursuit of fuel economy and nothing else, and it did that so well. It is a hypermilers wet dream. And it's here in the game, comes in the correct colour, which is this one. Just a really good looking model. Unfortunately, it is the CVT, not the 6-speed manual, which Insights came with famously. But the reason for that is probably to balance this out with the Toyota Prius and the General Motors EV1. Our first electric car ever in Gran Turismo 2, which just saying that blows my brain. The EV1, of course, a car that needs no introduction, a legend. They made a documentary about it. A car that was supposed to be the future, and General Motors was really pushing it and saying, this is our future, and then they bought them all back and crushed them. Because of course they did, because it's General Motors. If you ever get a chance, look up the interior of this car, because it truly is like nothing else. But yeah, the EV1 here is here, and those people who said it was as quick as a Corvette in the Who Killed the Electric Car documentary were very wrong. Let's put it that way. If you like your American cars with big V8s, as they should be, this is the Ford F-150 SVT Lightning. They told me a while ago they were going to put an F-150 in the game, but they weren't really sure which one it was going to be, but they've made absolutely the right choice with the SVT Lightning. Of course, a legendary performance pickup truck. This one is super cool to drive in the muscle car events in the main career. Maybe it looks a little bit out of place in Gran Turismo 2, but then again, all the muscle cars look completely out of place in this game as well. If you like to deliver overnight parts from Japan, this is the way to do it. The BMW M Coupe, left field choice, although if you know the Project A-Spec guys, you'll know left field is exactly what they like to do. Yeah, this is a cool car, the clown shoe, legendary M car, very cool looking. Basically an E36 M3, just with a strange looking body. Fully upgraded, this one is extremely quick, which is good fun. The Opel Astra GSI 16 valve 1993 Mark III Astra, probably my favourite generation of Astra, although that's not saying much. Very cool car. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in that weird sort of powdery max power yellow, but I don't think that was a factory colour, so that's probably why. But this one's cool. It's always nice to see another hot hatch in the game, even though this one is a bit more of a mild hatch, really. But still, I've never got to turn down adding another hatchback to Gran Turismo 2. The Isuzu Piazza. Again, left field choice, adding the Isuzu. This is one of Giugiaro's finest designs, to be fair. Very cool looking car. In terms of performance, not that cool. 133 horsepower, rear wheel drive. This is sort of competing with the low end rear wheel drive cars in the game, like the Sprinter Terrenos and stuff like that. But still, very cool car. I'd much rather drive one of these over a Sprinter Terreno. The Ford Capri, hot topic. This is the Zack Speed Turbo, the Group 5 legend. If you've played any of the more recent Forza Motorsport games, you have seen this car and have lightly driven it, and it is crazy. It is... I mean, Group 5 basically required you to use the doors and the roofline, which this does, and you can see everything else is completely custom, including the engine, which is a... Well, I've read this is a 1.7 litre 4-cylinder with just a mega turbo on it. Very cool. This would actually be a Group 5 champion in 1981, so yeah, drive the precursor to that. Just looks like nothing else. Crazy, crazy car. Aston Martin DB7s are represented heavily in this update, and I am super happy because the DB7 is one of, if not for me, the most beautiful car ever made. And I always thought this game was sort of missing with the 6-cylinder DB7s. Don't get me wrong, they were cool, but, you know, they never really quite had that bite, and this mod adds the bite. It adds the DB7 V12 Vantage, which is the one that should have been in the game anyway, swapping out that 6-cylinder for the Ford-derived V12. Just awesome car, 420 horsepower, feels like a true sports car, as it should have done from the start. But if you like your DB7s more mental, there is the TWR V12. Now, initially, when I first saw this, I thought it was just sort of like a body kit and maybe a little bit of extra power. But no, it turns out this car is very interesting indeed. This was actually a one-off car made by Tom Walkinshaw for Tom Walkinshaw to just drive around in, I guess. It has a custom Jaguar TWR 6.4 litre V12 engine. It's got a double clutch in it. It's got a manual. It is, I guess, the ultimate DB7. Looks crazy. I quite like it. It's still... I like how sort of... It's not over the top, which is a hole that's very easy to fall into when it comes to the DB7. Crazy car. And when you do get to play this update... fully upgrade this one, because you'll be mesmerized by how much power this thing truly makes. And if you like your DB7s unsuccessful, like I do, the Aston Martin DB7 GT1 will be of particular interest for you. This car was prepped for Le Mans, I believe by the same guy that did the EB110 at Le Mans, but this one never pre-qualified. But you can rewrite history and drive this car to success. Although it is difficult because this is not a very good car to drive, to be perfectly honest, unsurprisingly. The Tom's T20 LMS. Yes, it's another Supra, but this one is interesting. This is essentially a Tom's show car, sort of a la what would go on with the TRD 3000 GT. I believe this may have been a test bed for the Supra that ended up at Le Mans as well, but I can't seem to confirm that. But very cool, massive, wide body kit. Again, this is another one which, I mean, it makes 600 horsepower stock, but fully upgrade this one and it goes a lot quicker. So if you miss the Gran Turismo 1 Insanity upgrades, then this mod's got you covered. The Lancia LC2. This was a Lancia Group C car. Ferrari powered, and as you'd expect from a Lancia, it was extremely quick and then just exploded midway through the race. It won 3 races in the end. They ran this for about 3 years, I read, and then privateers ran it until about 1991. But a very, very cool car, one of the quickest in GT2 now, obviously, and I mean, you can't do much cooler than a Lancia Group C car, can you? The Citroën BX Sport Super Turismo, interesting car. Apparently this was basically a French DTM car, which I didn't even realise sort of French DTM was a thing, but apparently it was, and this raced there. 4-wheel drive, because of course it was, because it's French. A cool car. This is quite a fun car to drive rallying. I don't know if that's what the mod creators intended, but you can rally this, and it's quite a lot of fun, so... yeah, very cool car. Again, another left field choice that I wouldn't expect, but I'm happy it's here. You know, maybe they could add the road-going BX as well, just for some more Frenchness, but very, very cool car nonetheless. Continuing the left fieldness, Nissan R383. This was a car that was apparently meant to race in the 1970 Japanese Grand Prix, but that event was cancelled and this car just never raced. Ignore the fact the wheel geometry looks a bit weird in the garage. That does fix itself when it gets into the race, just in case you was curious. But this car, 702 horsepower, 740 kilos. It is as insane as those statistics make it out to be. It is, yeah, it's something to drive, let's put it that way. One of probably the most anticipated cars in this update, the Audi Quattro rally car, the S1 1985 Group B car. Group B was sort of represented in this game, but not quite. They had the Delta S4 and the RS200, but they seem to not really do anything with that. This mod aims to bring Group B a bit more to the forefront with the Quattro. 551 horsepower, 1090 kilos. In case you're wondering, the Delta S4, which didn't quite make those power figures in stock, has been beefed up as well to sort of compete with this, which is very, very cool. The Quattro, fantastic. Just, I love seeing this. By 1985, not quite as successful, but still was the second place car in the 1985 World Rally Championship. Awesome car with the spotlights and everything. It's so cool to see a Quattro in the game. Renault 5 Turbo, of course, another sort of Group B car. This is the road car, 150 horsepower, 970 kilos. Usually these are quite sketchy to drive, so I'll be interested to see what this one's like. But they've done a really good job with this model, especially a lot of people wouldn't include the two-tone, but this mod does, the turbo graphics on the side and all that. Very, very cool looking car. And again, another awesome hot hatch. But there's the Renault 5 Maxi Turbo, which is, of course, the car that competed in Group B. In 1985, this would go on to win the Tour de Corse rally, as you'd expect, because that's a tarmac rally. Again, another... to be honest with you, this might look even crazier than the Quattro does, with its sort of multiple spotlights and the wing that comes off the rear window, and then it's got the support braces on it. It is, yeah, a truly amazing looking car. 360 horsepower, 900 kilos, quite a bit of fun to chuck around as well. Very difficult to drive on the rally stages, I'll tell you that. Maybe keep this one on tarmac, because on the rally stages this gets a little bit hard to drive. If you like your rally cars older, the Alpine A110 1600S, 138 horsepower, 655 kilos. Don't let those statistics fool you though, because when fully upgraded this gets like 300 horsepower. And becomes absolutely undrivable, as you'd expect for a rear-engined, rear-wheel drive car. But no, very, very cool. Glad to see the Alpine A110 in here. Again, another left-field car that I hadn't thought about in years, the Caterham 21 Supersport. I do vaguely remember this car. I think it was in some book I had as a kid. It was based on the Caterham 7. Yes, that Caterham 7. And was designed to sort of be more usable. Never really went anywhere because, of course, people don't buy Caterhams for them to be more usable, but they put a load of engines into this. The particular one represented in the mod is the 1.8 litre Rover K series, so good luck with that head gasket. But other than that, a cool car. It does look cool, I'll give it that. It's sort of, I don't know, it's like a British BMW Z3 almost, in probably both reliability and construction as well. But yeah, cool car. And again, only 650 kilos, so it should be a fun one to drive around. Audi R8C, some representation for the Audi R8s. Of course, there's the TTLM in the base game, which does look like these cars do in terms of its sort of colour scheme and its livery, but they weren't quite the real thing, and now we have the real thing. This is the R8C, the closed cockpit one. This one was raced in the 24-hour Le Mans and failed to finish. So if you like your Le Mans cars a bit more successful, there's the R8R, which you can see that TTLM connection a lot more with. And in fact, it's so obvious, I'm quite surprised they didn't put this car in the game. This one's my personal favourite between the R8C and the R8R. I love the sort of attempt to make it look TT-ish on the front. I think it looks exquisite. This one actually did a bit more successful. It finished 3rd and 4th in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and was a bit of a taste of what was to come with the Audi R8. Of course, the R8 would go on to be one of the most successful, if not the most successful Le Mans car ever. Just an insane car, and then obviously the R10, R15, R18, that sort of thing. Lamborghini Cala. This is another interesting one. This is a concept car, sort of a precursor to the Gallardo. Of course, we have already had Lamborghini in Project A-Spec. There was the J-Lock Lambo. I don't know if they're planning on adding any more Lamborghinis other than this one, but yeah, the Cala's here, which is cool. 4-litre V10. Apparently the name on this one translates to, in Italian loosely, look, over there. Lamborghini. Especially in the Megatech days, which is what this was. Fantastic. A car that I had not seen since I was a kid, so this one sort of blew my mind when I saw it again. The BMW Nazca C2. Very cool car. I remember this being in, I had like a supercar book as a kid, which might have been the same one the Caterham was in as well, because supercar's a very loose term. But they showcased this. I remember thinking this was, I was like a massive BMW fanboy at the time, so I thought this was like the coolest thing ever. And it turns out it is actually. This was sort of supposed to be a successor to the BMW M1. They never ended up putting it into production, which is a bit of a shame because they were a bit worried because the M1 sort of went nowhere. And in typical BMW fashion, that was the only M car until the XM, and then the XM bombed. Great. Yeah, this one had an Alpina tuned V12, which makes me love it even more. I love the sort of corporate 5 Series-ness. Again, like the R8R, you can sort of see the corporate face on it as well, which is very cool. But no, Awesome car. Bit of a handful to drive, but very cool nonetheless. Not as much as a handful of this one is, though. This is the Vision Industries K2. I had no idea what this thing was, but essentially, I guess Vision Industries was trying to out-vector Vector. So as a result, this is a mid-engine sports car, twin-turbo Corvette V8, as the Vectors were. This, unfortunately, was never functional. They basically just used it to take a load of pictures and get an idea of what they were going to do. But it is a mad car, makes 800 horsepower, 1,200 kilos, and it does drive like it's got those statistics. It is insane. But perhaps even cooler, the K2 LM edition. This is a weird one. This is actually a completely fictional car. The K2 was never meant to race. They sort of made that concept and then it never really went anywhere. But they did a design competition on the Project A-Spec Discord for what was going to be the livery to the K2 LM, and this was the successful one. And I think it looks amazing, the sort of purple, orange, white split. You got the Chevrolet logo on it because, of course, this was Corvette powered. Just an awesome looking car, obviously detuned slightly from the normal road going car to fit it more in line with the LM editions that are in the game. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal looking thing. Really very cool. Vectors, of course, you know I love a vector, and this mod adds more vectors. This is the W2 twin turbo. Very interesting car, actually. This was essentially the precursor to all vectors ever. This was the concept car to the W8. They made this in 1978. The W8 didn't go into production until the very late 80s or even 1990, I believe. So this was like the car. This racked up over 100,000 miles in testing, despite being a concept car. It got recolored several times. Just exquisite looking thing. You can definitely tell it was sort of an early version of the W8, but yeah, very, very cool looking. The one picture mostly is silver, but I think this white one really emphasizes the concept carness. Very cool indeed. But if you like your vectors more mental, this is the WX3. This was the W8 successor that was planned, and then Vector got bought out and he got kicked out of his own company, and then they'd make the M12, which was basically just a Lamborghini Diablo. But this was what was originally planned as the W8 successor. As you can see there, 853 horsepower. This would have been a worthy one. Yeah, again, another very cool looking car. I believe this is badged as an Ortec somewhere, so I'm not sure what was going on with all that, but there you go. Cool car, several colours. This is the purple one, which does look suitably vectorish. Chevrolet CRV3. This was another one that I swear I saw years ago, but I can't quite put my finger on where. Very cool car. This was the Corporate Experimental Research Vehicle. And this was basically General Motors throwing all of the technology into this. So this had four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, it had twin turbos, it had an active suspension system. Truly amazing car. Obviously, if they'd put this into production, it would have been prohibitively expensive. But yeah, very cool. 638 horsepower four-wheel drive. Quite a heavy car, but it's a really nice car to drive, this one. Great turn of speed. Obviously, you had a lot of stability through the corners with the four-wheel drive. Cool car indeed. But if you want a car, you could actually buy the C5 Corvette. One that's a bit weird by its absence from the game in the first place, but the guys have added in the C5 Corvette for you to go ahead and drive around in. Obviously, this is before the days of the Z06 and that sort of stuff, so this one makes do with 345 horsepower. So between this and the C4, I mean, I'm still a big C4 fan. I'd probably drive the C4 over this, but for the C5 Corvette fans, for which I know there is many, it is a very cool car indeed. The Panos Roadster. A car, again, another very strange left field choice, but this is a car Panos made. This has 226 horsepower. This is the 1992 version, and there is the AIV in the game as well, which would bump power up to 305 horsepower, and this is essentially the successor to the previous Roadster, but a very, very cool car indeed. Mercedes-Benz Lotec C1000, referring to 1000 horsepower. This was a concept car made by Mercedes and sort of Lotec as a sort of joint venture. They actually made this. It is a real car. They only made one, unfortunately, but allegedly this could have done 268 miles per hour. Insane looking design. The front end is very sad, but the sort of the side strake leading up to the spoiler, I think, is an awesome touch. I love that look that it's got to it. And yeah, this is a mental car to drive, as you would expect. The Quaif R4 GTS, another sort of deep left field cut. Yes, it's made by that Quaif, the gearbox manufacturer. This was made for British GT. They did score a podium, and I think it might have done a few more good results as well, a couple of point scores here and there. But essentially it was made as a car for them to sort of test technologies. Keeley, it's four-wheel drive, which is very interesting for a race car like this. And I guess for those of you who struggle a little bit with the mid-engine rear drive cars in the game, sort of keeping them on the road, this would be a very good choice. And there's the road car as well, which I've got to be honest, I think this is one of the best looking, well, it's one of the best looking A-Spec models, but I think this is a really, really cool looking car in general. There's not really much overcomplication with its styling. It's just very simple, it's functional, but I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. And again, from the back, like the model, it looks incredible. To be honest with you, if the shading wasn't so limited in this game, this could probably be a Gran Turismo 3 model, in all honesty, because it does look that good. I suppose there's not a lot of complication in terms of getting angles and stuff on this car, but yeah, an awesome looking model. If you like your British GTs saddle looking, there is a smattering of Marcos LM600s. It is, of course, raced in British GT. There is the GT2, which has that livery. There's the Evo, which has that livery on it. Great. And then there's the road car as well. They only made one road car. This is another one that can get prohibitively powerful as well. But yeah, not one of my favourites, I've got to be honest. It is one of the saddest looking cars in the game. But now we come on to a bit of a main event of the Project A-Spec 1.2 update, because this update adds Formula 1 to Gran Turismo 2. Again, another thing I never thought I'd say, there are Formula 1 cars in Gran Turismo 2, and there is a good bunch of Formula 1 cars in this game for you to drive around. I think eventually the plan is for an event to exist for these cars, which would be really, really cool. But obviously you can just drive these in any event you want, and they are a lot of fun. A lot trickier than you'd expect as well, which I think is a nice touch. So we have the 1999 F399, the Ferrari car that won the Constructors and would have won the Drivers' Championship if Michael Schumacher didn't break his leg, or if Ferrari could actually handle a pit stop. But this one, you can see it looks absolutely phenomenal. There is the Champions car, the West McLaren-Mercedes MP4-14 with the Mercedes-Benz power plant. This car driven by Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard. Mika Hakkinen, I can say it right. Yeah, very cool car. The West sponsorship, obviously an absolute icon of its era. The Jordan, Mugen Honda, the J199, the car almost competing for the championship with Heinz Harald Frentzen. One of the most fondly remembered Formula 1 car. This is, of course, the Buzzing Hornets era of Jordan, but this one's got the proper uncensored sponsorship, as it should do. So kids, do not smoke. The Stewart, this one actually won a race in 1999, because 1999 was a bit of a mental year. Driven by Rubens Barrichello and Johnny Herbert. Sort of the Ford factory team. Very cool car. It's got one of the coolest logos. I really like the tartan effect they've got on this one as well. The Benetton B199, the famous Playlife powered car. Of course, that was actually a Supertech engine. Yeah, Playlife, very cool. My old 7 sponsorship, of course. Eventually, they would go on to be the Renault factory team. This was sort of the dying years of Benetton, but they were very successful in the mid-90s. Cool car indeed. The Prost, because why not? This is the AP02 with the Peugeot engine. Prost didn't do nearly as bad as I thought they did in 1999, but of course Peugeot would end up falling apart eventually. But a very cool looking car, very simple looking car, which I quite like. There's the perennial backmarker, the Minardi, the M01. One of my favourite Minardis, actually, in 1999, with the Telefonica livery on it, very cool, and the fond metal. Yeah, probably famous for Luca Badoa crying next to it, but there you go. And then even some really deep cuts. This is the Jaguar Formula 1 concept. So, of course, when Stewart was eventually bought out by Ford at the end of 1999, Jaguar re-entered the sport, and this mod has a cap on cars of 1999 for obvious reasons, but this is the Formula 1 concept, so you can drive a Jaguar Formula 1 car, which is very cool. And there's the Honda RA099 as well. This was sort of a test mule for Honda in Formula 1. They were thinking about entering a full factory team. Didn't end up happening in the end, and they'd end up just having a new engine. But still, this was the test car driven by Jos Verstappen primarily. Very cool, simple car. Sort of gives you Braun GP vibes, but a very cool one nonetheless. To give you an idea of how quickly they're adding cars to this mod as well, I actually got sent this once I'd got the mod and I got all the cars and I was ready to do this video. At the last minute, Komputer hit me up and said, hey, we got another car. This is the Nissan R90V, an evolution of the R89C, which is of course famous in Gran Turismo 4, made by Team Le Mans. Wasn't particularly successful, but very cool looking. I thought this was a Toyota, I'm not going to lie, because I'm not used to seeing a Nissan in red racing, but still very cool, another Group C car to add. And the Suzuki carry panel van. Yeah. This mod's got everything, man. It really has. It is so cool. So, that is a preview of 52 of the cars coming in the upcoming Project A-Spec update. So, should we get on the road? Should we drive one of these? Let's drive the F355 Berlinetta. Should we do mid-engine challenge? Yes, we'll do the high-speed ring mid-engine challenge in the Ferrari, which is the way it should be done. So you get that glorious 8,500 RPM red line. Again, GT2 obviously not quite being able to handle the sounds of the real Ferrari V8, but still very cool. And again, a really good looking model, actually, to be fair, on this car. Really cool looking. We're racing against some Elises and some ZZSs and MR2. I'm assuming those are tuned, but still probably got no chance against the mighty F355. But it's so insane seeing a Ferrari in the game. You know, obviously, Ferrari would not come to Gran Turismo until GT5, which is insane to think about, really, how big sort of Gran Turismo was in these years. But there were still manufacturers that were, you know, pointing their nose up, and now, I mean, Ferrari essentially get licensed in basically every game, which is quite funny. You know, obviously you can't modify their cars in every single game, and I'm assuming this 355 probably could go to the wheel shop if you want to add some raised strawberry Vestas to it to really piss off Ferrari, but don't tell them because you'll ruin all the fun. But yeah, very cool car. Nonetheless, I really like sort of how detailed that 355 badge is on the back. It's the simple things with me that I can pick up on. But no, this is a very cool car to drive around in. And again, it's actually a really nice handling car, to be fair. Obviously, high-speed ring, maybe not the best test of a car's handling, but it does cope really well. You get a lovely turning grip, a little bit of sliding if you over push it, but it never really feels like unruly or anything like that. And 377 horsepower, which is decent for this game, so you can push yourself out of corners quite well. I can't think of too many of this sort of mid-engined you know, your mid-engine cars in this game are usually this sort of stuff, where it's your low-volume British sports cars and stuff like that. So to have a proper supercar to go against stuff like the Venturi Atlantiques and that sort of likes, it is very cool. I don't know how that MR2 came last. That was very strange, but there you go. Also, no music in this version, so we can't hear the soundtrack, which is unfortunate, but for those of you who don't know, Project A-Spec does have a different soundtrack to the base game. What should we drive next? We got to drive the F-150. I love the F-150. Muscle Car Cup. We will go for Seattle short. We'll keep it short. But no, I love the F-150. It just looks... Look how... It looks... Like I say, it does look a bit out of place, but then again, all of the classic muscle cars in this game look so out of place when you drive them, so... But no, this one you get that classic sort of muscle car whine to it. Only a 4-speed gearbox with the lightning, because, as you'd expect, it's sort of 4-speed automatic, so it does fit in quite well with the muscle cars here, to be fair. So if you are going to upgrade the F-150, I'd probably recommend doing the gearbox tuning. Obviously, when we get round to the Hot Lap Classic, there is no such thing as gearbox tuning in the Hot Lap Classic, so yeah, that's probably not happening. So I don't know how this is going to do, but there you go. In case you're wondering, by the way, due to the way this sort of needs to be a released update for me to cover these cars in the Hot Lap Classic. So as much as I would dearly love to drive some of these around Motorsport Land, for now it's not something I can do, so and I'm probably going to now wait for 1.2 to fully release before we can get some Project A-Spec cars round, but I know that's something everyone is super excited for, seeing these cars take on our Motorsports Land track, so don't worry that these will be coming, but unfortunately I can't test them now, which is a shame, because I'd love to, not least because Project A-Spec videos do rather well in terms of views, so getting the preview on these cars around the Motorsports Land track would be very cool indeed, but no, I can wait, I can deal with it. To be fair, there is a cheat code where you can sort of drive them around, but you have to have the AI and stuff, and it's a bit of a ball ache really, so yeah, we're not going to do that. But yeah, this is they've done a really good job with this S150, because it does feel very light over the rear end. It's not really something Gran Turismo 2 has to think about too much in the base game. I mean, obviously it has a pickup truck, it has the Midget, but the Midget's not really a proper truck per se, so no, it's quite cool. It's able to deal with this. I just love how big door mirrors are on this thing. It looks so dopey with its giant door mirrors. Very cool indeed. So, but no, it fits right in with the old 60s muscle cars. It basically drives like an old 60s muscle car. Fully upgraded, I think this thing gets like 700 horsepower, so maybe you could do some suspension tuning and really get this thing going, but yeah, as it stands, probably not. What else do we fancy a go in? I definitely want to show off the DB7 GT4, because that's very cool. I mean, you've all waited on the F1 cars, so which one? Let's drive the... do we want to drive the Mercedes or the Jordan? We'll drive the Mercedes. You can see the Jordan later on. And I can show you how interesting these cars actually are to drive. Sod it, we'll do Rome. I know this isn't a particularly competitive field to do this with, but, you know, don't want to be sat here forever. So you can see the massive red line that you got from these naturally aspirated V10s. It does look very strange having Formula 1 cars in GT2, but it's awesome nonetheless. So the cool thing with these cars, one thing that I think they've done really well is it would be very easy to make the Formula 1 cars like pure downforce machines and make them like OP and really competing with the Group C cars, and they can do that, but you really need a modicum of skill to drive these cars. They have crazy front end turning. I mean, you can see that. Like, the front end on these cars is insane. They turn in so well. But the problem you get is the rear traction is limited in these. So it's very easy to lose the rear end. And one thing that I especially like is it really is track dependent. So like a track like Rome or I'm trying to think of another one for some reason. I don't know why my brain's gone blank. But a track like Rome, where it's relatively smooth, there's not a lot of elevation change. These cars get along with quite well. But if you drive these at like Laguna Seca or Grindelwald or something like that, like the track surface being sort of bumpy and undulating, it really affects these cars. It can really throw them off, which is awesome. You know, it really gives these cars a proper unique feel, which is difficult. I mean, it's something that Gran Turismo, you know, even in Gran Turismo 3 when they had the Formula Gran Turismo drove basically like the All-Stars cars did. You know, there wasn't too much dissimilarity there. But these really do feel like a completely new, different kettle of fish. I suspect that the Formula 1 Championship, or the F1 Car Championship, or whatever they call it, when it eventually gets implemented, is going to be very challenging. It's going to be very interesting to see how the AI cope with these cars as well. Because the AI in this game are quick, but very mistake-prone. So, it'll be interesting to see how they're going to sort of balance all that. But no, these cars are just insane. I love them. And in case you're wondering, Hot Lap Classic Formula 1 cars, yeah, these things are quick. I did a bit of testing with them, and yeah, they're not slow, let's put it that way. Even with like the AI in the way, these things were still... let's just say they were under 30. So, yeah, there you go. There's a preview of the Formula 1 car. Again, not really much to compare it to in terms of competition, but that's because there's just nothing to compare it to. I thought it was a PT Cruiser for a second there. What else do we want to have a go in? I appreciate I'm not going to be able to have a go in everything everyone wants. Let's drive the Quattro. Let's fire up the Quattro. Let's go rallying. I should point out I play with a 60 FPS patch, so this isn't going to display correctly. Like for those of you who don't know, if you play with a 60 FPS patch, it basically breaks the rally ghost, so they'll just drive into a wall. You can see him twitching his wheels there as he looks for a way to crash. So, unfortunately, it's not going to be a proper race, but still very cool. I should point out, actually, as well, not only is the Audi Quattro incoming and the Renault 5 Turbo, there's also the Peugeot 405 Pikes Peak car, which is currently in development as well. That's not quite in the game yet, but that's still in the modelling stages, and that car, that's going to be something to drive. I love the 405 Pikes Peak. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a Pikes Peak connoisseur or anything like that, but that's one of my favourite Pikes Peak cars. It's just so insane looking. But this Quattro, I mean, it is exactly what you expect it to. It is basically a Formula 1 car for the dirt, you know. It makes insane amounts of power. This one's nice and controllable. The Renault 5, obviously, is not. As I've pointed out, I'm not going to drive that on camera purely because it would be quite embarrassing. But, yeah, this thing is super cool, super quick. Awesome thing to just drive it. You can see the downforce there pushing it down. Yeah, truly a Formula 1 car for the dirt circuit. These things are going to be a lot of fun. It'd be really interesting to do like a challenge trying to race the Cultus and the Escudo with that, because I honestly think those cars could be in trouble there. New car acquired, I'm assuming... Is that something I don't know about, or... Huh. Huh, there you go, you learn something as you go through the mod. They're offering the Evo 6 as a prize car in the rally events. That's cool. I literally didn't know that, as you can see as well. This hasn't fully sort of got off the ground yet, but it is something they're starting to do. You can see they're uncensoring the tobacco sponsorship on the F1 cars, or on the race cars, which is very cool. I want to drive the DB7. I want to drive the DB7 GT1. Problem is, it's going to have to be like All-Stars, and All-Stars takes... Which one of these is the shortest? I mean, Red Rock Valley is obviously the one I've got the most experience in, as everyone else has, so we'll go Red Rock Valley. Actually, no, sod it. We'll go Special Stage Route 5. If I feel like this is dragging on, I'll quit out halfway through. But yeah, we'll go race the DB7 with its thunderous sounding engine. This car is hard, so it's one of the another really cool thing the A-Spec guys like to do. You'll also notice, for those of you who've never seen A-Spec before, you'll notice the opponents in this event are actually different. That's one of the really cool things I didn't even know they were doing until I played the release build. They're actually got the opponents changed, so you've got like LM editions and stuff, like cars that wouldn't normally appear in the All-Stars races. They're actually given a proper spotlight in this game, which is amazing to see. I should actually also point out that Evo, that wasn't a typo on the power figures. I really do I want to mention that now, or no? I'll wait until the end to mention that. But yeah, as you can see, DB7 not quite able to cut through the field. It is a bit of a dog to drive, the DB7. It is heavy. It is not particularly powerful. It's, you know, sort of almost mirroring the real life, you know. It's how those of you might recall, I think this was before Project A-Spec released, I did a video on the Lancia 037 that tried to race in GT500 and didn't do it particularly successfully, actually trying to win the GT500 championship in that thing. And that's sort of really cool. You can really challenge yourself with some of these sort of bigger, brutier cars. To be fair, this course with this car probably not the best solution for this, but the one thing this really shows as well, again, Project A-Spec guys putting a lot of detail. The night, for those of you who don't know, the special stage, I think it was only Route 5 and Rome circuit, Night Rome, which they do actually also use in the mod, which is very cool. Yeah, you actually have to model like full separate nighttime variations of cars, and all of them have got nighttime variants with the lights and changed reflections and all that, which is awesome to see. So yeah, they don't, like I say, they don't half-ass anything, these guys. These guys are pretty professional when it comes to this sort of stuff. It really does feel like Gran Turismo with updates. That's what it feels like. It feels like Gran Turismo 2 with actual like content updates like it does nowadays. So you get all the goodness of classic Gran Turismo with an actual single player campaign and a game that doesn't suck complete ass, with the benefits of the new games with all the updates and stuff. So yeah, it's cool, to say the least. The only thing I wish they'd do is release a PAL version, but apparently that is a substantial amount of work. So yeah, Gran Turismo 1 Plus is only available in PAL region, so I guess that's the consolation prize at the moment. But yeah, this is a tricky car to try and pilot around here, to say the least. You can sort of make your way up the field eventually. I'm sure, I mean, actually no, I'd say that. I have tried putting super soft tyres on this and it was still a challenge, so like I say, really cool sort of reference to how shoddy this car was in real life. But it's cool to have a proper racing DB7. That's what we like to see. Coming around here. God, this thing is so lumberous to drive. It's amazing. I love the sound though. The sound is proper Spitfire stuff, so yeah, very cool. We won't finish that because I'm bored of driving that thing because it's so slow. But I'll show you this now. Another plan with this update is to rebalance the rally cars to make them more akin to their real-life equivalents. So, for those of you who don't know, Group A rally cars in this game usually make like 400 horsepower, like the same as the Delta S4 Group B does. Not accurate to real life, obviously. These cars made a lot closer to like 300 horsepower. So they've been rebalanced, which is cool. I'm going to race the Suzuki Carry, but I'm going to leave that for last. What else do we want to take for a bit of a spin? Obviously, if you guys have ideas of your own for cars that you'd like to see me drive, then no, definitely not racing in there. I think this thing can barely win the Sunday Cup, so we'll take it here. But yeah, if you guys have got ideas for anything else you'd like to see driven today in separate videos, then please do let me know, because like I say, I think 1.2's a couple of months out, so this thing gets off the line really well and dies. And that's the Insight, that's the CVT Insight life. Ironically, the logo's here, and the logo and this probably share gearboxes, or I don't know if this shares the Prius's gearbox, I'm not really sure how it works. But, I mean, it's a damn sight quicker than the EV1. Yeah. So, if you want to see anything else driven in separate videos, do let me know. Obviously, if that car is the GM EV1, it is significantly slower than this is, so if that car is the GM EV1, the challenge is probably try to win a race in the GM EV1, so that doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. But yeah, any cars you've seen here that you'd like to see in videos, do let me know and I will endeavour to have a look at them. I think the Lotec as well, I'm going to have a look at the Lotec. I don't want this video to go on forever. I don't know how long I've been recording for so far. I think we're about 40 minutes in, so I think we will do this. I will take the Lotec to the top speed course, and then we will end with the Suzuki Carry. I think that's the best way to go about this. But as you can see, it's that uphill section with the Insight. The funny thing with the Insight is, like, the launch off the line is spectacular. It's really quick off the line, and then it dies between about 70 kilometers an hour and about now. When it starts reaching this sort of top speed, it does pick up a little bit, almost 100 miles an hour in the Insight, which is wow. But yeah, like I say, it's very similar to the Prius in the whole way it drives. And as I said, the EV1's even worse. I think the EV1's slightly limited because this game has a bit of a weird... There's somewhat weird with the power and the torque in this game, so from what I know, I could be wrong here, one of the guys might have to comment and fix me on this, but I'm fairly certain you can't make like a car that makes all the torque at like 0 RPM in this game, which would be what the EV1 would have to do to be quick, so the EV1 is not quick. But I'm hoping they add some sort of like Eco Car Championship or something to really, you know, give the Insight and EV1 and all that some... It's quite funny actually, I've never noticed how much the front end of the Insight and the front end of the Yaris kind of look similar. That's fun. But no, as you can see, can we get these guys on the downhill? Build up the momentum. We're almost leaving the Yaris. There is a intense battle for the lead of this. Oh, the Daihatsu Quattro from out of nowhere. Daihatsu Quattro from out of nowhere. Something I never... Oh my god, there's another logo. It's like a Honda race. Anyways, that was gonna go terribly, so we won't finish that. C1000. Gotta drive the C1000, right? The C1000 is insane. Let's do the max speed run in the C1000. I think I trialed this briefly on the Like the Wind event, which is something they added to Project A-Spec. And I won't tell you what my top speed was, but let's just say there was a lot of kilometers an hour when you stretch this thing's gear ratios out. Well, yeah, this thing is monstrously quick. It actually gets away from the line quite well as well. But no, this thing is... 5th gear is all it's got, but still, you can see this, you know, 380... And it's still pushing. Like, you'd probably need to extend the gear ratios out to really make this thing hit its hypothetical top speed, but you can see it's bouncing off the limiter there at 395, which is insane. That's, for those of you who don't know Eurobabble, and to be fair, I don't know particularly well either, that's just shy of 240 miles per hour, so probably about 230 in the Lotec. When does this end? I'm assuming at the end of the 1,000 kilometer. Yeah. So there you go. That's the Lotec. It is fast. 395 kilometers exactly. So that'd be quite cool. What's the quickest car in GT2? I'm sure someone's already figured that out. All right, where's the carry? There's only one place this can really go, and it's the midget contest. Oh no! No, I'm not. I can't race the carry on super speedway. Absolutely not. Please don't give me a long track though. Trial Mountain. This is gonna take forever. Listen to that sound of success. 37 horsepower. Oh, look at that short shifting gearbox. Almost gained on a midget on the line. That's 40, I think. This thing is... Okay, maybe I misjudged the Suzuki carry. It is gaining on the midgets. Yes! Come on, Suzuki carry panel van thing. Whatever you are. I love this model. I love the fact they added this as well. Like, Project A-Spec just blows it out of the park with some of the options they pick. You know, you could never... I don't know, you could never tell me, like... I wouldn't have been able to tell you the one car Gran Turismo needs is a Suzuki carry panel van. And then the guys add the Suzuki carry panel van, and you're like, how did I ever live without the mighty Suzuki carry panel van? It is an incredible vehicle, and we're almost... Oh. That is 100... That is 62 miles per hour. Wow, look at this thing down straight. It goes 118 kilometers an hour. So 70 is basically the limit of this thing. Are we about to get mullered? Oh, do the midgets have it on the straight? That's the question. Are the midgets quicker on the straight? They are not. And then we can turn in with our superior grip. The mighty Suzuki carry panel van. What a vehicle. Yeah, like I say, honestly, I can't believe they added a carry panel van. I'm like, I've never thought about adding the Suzuki carry panel van to GT2, but what a move. It makes perfect sense. Hopefully they add like the, what was the ridiculous Honda from GT4 called? That was like slow as balls as well. The Life thing. The Life panel van. If they had the Life panel van in this, oof. Oof. Can you imagine the commercial vehicle cup in this game and it's just this crap? Like, you could add the commercial vehicle cup and it would be like the Midget 2, the Suzuki carry panel van, and the F-150 Lightning. And it's like, what? I mean, there's another van thing in this game. Oh, the A-Spec F1. Yeah, throw that in there as well. Why not? What a vehicle. Apparently, Epic Turismo is supposed to be coming back as well. Oh god, we lose so much speed on the hill. Apparently, Epic Turismo is coming back. Maybe they'll add the Suzuki Carry LM edition. That'll be fun. But no, this thing's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And in case you're wondering, yes, we are going to sit here. We are going to finish this race. This video is going to be over an hour long, I think. And almost all of the runtime is going to be a Suzuki Carry panel van attempting to go up hills. But what a vehicle this is. 118.87 kilometers an hour on that last lap. Oof. Is that bouncing off? It is bouncing off the limiter at 118 as well. There is more to give. The Suzuki Carry panel van with its 37 brake horsepower has more to give. That is a sight. If my thumbnail wasn't like some super detailed like thing that I actually spent time on, that would be the still from this video. Maybe I'll use that as like a teaser image on YouTube. God, this thing is... I mean, they're losing speed on the hills as well, but as soon as we get to this bit, it starts to fly again. It's incredible. The mighty Suzuki Carry panel van. Oh, look at that. Look at that grip. Oh, we're running out of grip. Oh, we're on the grass. Okay, we didn't lose too much speed by going on the grass, that's fine. I was a bit worried about that. Don't want to lose the momentum. Come on. As it hits the curbs and almost falls over in the process. Oh, the Midgets had quite a good run out of that corner, but it's not going to be enough. The Suzuki Carry panel van. Quicker than the Midgets. Incredible. What a vehicle. What a way to end our look at 1.2. So, like I say, if there's any other vehicles you'd like to see me use from this mod, maybe in a championship or something, I could certainly arrange for that to happen, because I do want to do some more content with this car list, because this car list is incredible. You know, the original launch car list for A-Spec was amazing. I think this one's even better. So, yeah, absolutely phenomenal mod. Like I said, down below in the description, there is the Discord, the teaser trailer for 1.2. There's also a bunch of other little changes, which I forgot to mention in here. Stuff like the 840Ci has had a model update. Quite a few of the cars have had a model update. Even the beloved Twingo has had some of its shading done as well, so that looks really nice now. Yeah, there's just a ton of stuff to mention in 1.2. I'm sure even Komputer's forgotten some of the stuff that is in 1.2. It's that big. So, yeah, like I say, give these guys a follow, check them out. As mentioned at the start of this, please do not ask me for when this launches, or the guys, because they don't know. But once it does launch, it is going to be an absolute event. That is it for this preview of 1.2. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time for something completely different or the same. Depends what you tune into this channel for. Yeah, thank you for watching. Until next time, farewell.
Where my hopes and dreams are going, I'll only got up in a war that you are not part of. Eyes on the slit of your father with love.